Just like we have a close won process, you want to have a close loss process as well. And in some cases, I would argue that this is more important than the close won. Reason for that is when we think about the business, they spent all this money on marketing and sales and all this time, possibly even with C-suite people, that they spoke about the product, the feature, all this stuff was done. Send them a proposal and then they say no. What we want to make sure that we're capturing is, why did they say no? Who did they go with if they went with a competitor? How do we possibly win them back? What did they complain about as to the reason why they didn't want to go with us? And if we don't capture that, you're likely just going to keep repeating these same mistakes because marketing doesn't know what to change. So when we capture this data, this allows the marketing team to switch or refine or dial in a little bit better on their ads, the copy that they're putting out there, who we're targeting, right? All that stuff can be cleaned up so that we don't waste more money as a business that way. And then again, we can re-engage with these people in the future if it was something like features were missing, or they went with a competitor and then we follow up because we want to see how that went and they didn't love it, right? There's ways that we can win this back. So it is kind of crazy when we think about there's situations that we just don't capture this data, we move on. So we're going to go through what you should set up for your close loss process. This is a really good foundation how to do it. And as always in these videos, we'll talk about what you can do if you're smaller or a bigger business to make this work a little bit better for you guys. So up here again, make sure we understand why we lost a deal and how we can win them back. That's the whole point of this. So up here, right, you got all the way to the end. There was some type of contract or proposal you guys sent out as a business, and they say no. What you want to do first, if you are a bigger business, anytime I do these dotted ones, this is optional. But what I would do if I was a bigger business, I would have something in Salesforce that they call a screen flow. What that does is it opens a pop-up box on your screen. So you'd click a button if you were the sales rep to say, hey, this was closed lost. A pop-up screen appears, and then you can actually just enter in the data or verify the data in that screen and then hit save or edit it right there, and then you're done. So this is a really cool way to just easily make this happen versus having them search through the entire opportunity or go click around and then try to figure out, what they have to fill in, what they don't have to fill in. A lot of times that's super frustrating for the sales rep. I know from personal experience when they get mad that we require more fields on the Salesforce side and then they can't find them. So this is an easy way to just pop open the screen. Hey, fill this data in. We're good to go after you do so. And then you can close this out. When we do that pop-up screen, if you are bigger, here's some of the things that we want them to either verify or fill out. If you're smaller, you don't need to do it this way. And what I would at least consider are these three down here. We want to stamp the close loss date. So we want to know when we lost this person. That's going to help us understand, if I lost somebody a year ago, I probably want to re-engage with them. I might have different pricing. I might have a different team. I might be able to help them out in a different way. They might have different needs, right? We might have more features if it's a product we're selling. So we do want to capture this so that we understand, when was the last time we spoke with these people? When did they say no to us? Have we changed since then? If yes, probably want to re-engage at this point. So we want to stamp that to know when this happened. Also helps you on the marketing side as well. Understand, hey, this is the campaigns we were running, or these are the webinars we were doing, or the trade shows we were going to. And this is the time that we lost these customers, right? So it helps you structure that better too, so that we understand what we were doing as a business to try to acquire that client and what didn't really work out. Next one down is changing the stage of the opportunity or the deal in Salesforce to actually say close loss. Kind of an obvious one, but obviously you do want to mark it as close loss. As obvious as that might seem, I do see a lot of businesses when we get in there that they just leave them open, or they don't mark it as closed loss. They just assume it's closed because nobody's been working it. We actually do want to mark these as closed loss so we can find those in our reports and dashboards as the C-suite or the marketing team or the managers, right? If that's not marked as closed loss, they don't count those. So we do want to make sure that this happens. So having the date, the stage get updated, and then over here, the very most important one, in my opinion, is some type of lost reason. Now, this can look a couple ways. In the beginning, if you're small and maybe you don't know, you could just have an open text box in Salesforce that just says, hey, write out, why they didn't go with us. As you can tell, that's going to get a little inconsistent because depending on the people you hire, some people, really like to document and they'll write something out that's nice and easy for you to read and you're appreciative of it. The other people may just hurry and throw something in there and it kind of just gets lost in translation. You don't really know what it means, or it was too short of a note and you don't really capture why, and you got to follow up with them. So what I like to do here is, that's okay to do, but you could also create like a drop down, and then the drop down will have some reasons for you. Lost a competitor, pricing, features, whatever. And then you could also still have the note. So sometimes people do both. They'll select the reason so that we at least know why they decide not to go with us. And then the note can also be required to say, please tell us why. And so if they go with a competitor, who was the competitor? If it was features, what were the features? If it was price, what did they want for the price? So something I would say in the mix of those two is usually what's best. Once we fill out that lost reason, we are going to make a decision here. This goes into re-engaging with this person. So not only do we want to collect the data, we do want to have some time period here that automatically gets set up so that we re-engage with this person when it's appropriate. So if we select a certain reason, there's probably different times that you want to wait until you re-engage with them. So examples here, I do have one off to the far left. If it's like totally wrong, totally bad, they never want to talk to you again, there is a button people usually put in, or a checkbox that says do not contact. And that person usually stays on that list a lot longer. Now, in these situations, if it was like pricing or features or like a competitor, again, you probably have different time zones that you want to wait to re-engage with that person. If it was pricing and hey, we reassess our pricing every 6 months, maybe we want to put them in the backlog for 6 months and then re-engage with that lead. Same thing with features, same thing with a competitor. There's probably some ideas you have as a sales team in your mind. When it's this situation, we can check back in this amount of time. What sometimes people will refer to this section as is a storage or a backlog, or I've even seen cold storage before. It's basically, here's the people that didn't work out. We're going to kind of put them on ice for a minute. And then in a certain amount of time, we're going to start reaching back out to them because things change. Even people at the companies change. So maybe somebody that wasn't super open to it, they get a new person in and now they are. So we do want to be re-engaging with these ones. And again, you spent all this time, money, and effort from the sales and marketing perspective to get these people to even listen to you in the first place. So we don't want to just throw that away and never talk to them again. We do want to keep following up with them. So this is an automated process that will happen that will say, pretend this first one's 30 days. We're going to wait 30 days, and then we're going to automatically start putting this person back into our lead nurture queue. That's one way to do it. Another way that you could re-engage is maybe you don't want it to do the automatic emails. Maybe you want a sales rep to personally reach out to them. You could also do that too. You could send a notification to the sales rep that used to work this person, or the sales manager over that territory or that industry that you're working, and send them a notification. Hey, here's, these 3 people today. It's now been 30, 60, 90 days since we last reached out to them. It's time to reach out to them again. However we want to do this, there are multiple ways. You could do that where we send a notification. It sends a lead nurture email. We could put it back into a queue. There's a few different ways we could do that, or we could do a mix of all 3. What we would want to do at this point, depending on your business, is see what works best for you guys and then set it up that way. But there are a few different options here. And that's it. That's what we want to do. So main points, right? Getting the information so that we know why they didn't go with us, and then setting up a time period that we're going to wait before we start re-engaging with that person once again. Doing this saves a lot of money in the long run once we win people back, and also buttons things up so that you're not spending as much money on marketing guessing who we should be reaching out to. This is what helps refine what we should be doing better, who we should be targeting. So all in all, this is a big time and money save for the whole business. So if you don't have this in place, I would strongly, strongly recommend getting this in place. And if you want someone like ourselves to come in and do this for you, I have a link in the description, send you over to see if we're a good fit to work with you guys. If we are, we can come in and do this exactly for you guys, set it up exactly how we need to for your business. Appreciate it. Look forward to talking with you guys soon.